The electric power set is deceptively single target. Uh, you're probably saying, "Oh, what do you mean? It's got a lot of dots." You know, but yeah, it also has a lot of damage split, and it's very power hungry with those dots. Let's just take a quick look. My gear isn't that great. Still using a spark blaster. I have, a 167 in here, but I don't like it. I've been using the same hand blaster for like a year now, and what is it too much to ask for a weapon drop that is not a shield or some kind of brawling weapon on every kind of op or alert or raid I do? I would really appreciate it if I could. I'm praying here that I can get a hand blaster that's decent. I mean, I'm a mite DPS anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But still, it helps. It helps supplement my trash dealing, because this power set is not very good at dealing with large numbers, which is funny considering its concept. I have some deep sea stuff. The rest is just drops from alerts and the solos and duos. So I'm not really that well geared. I'm okay, might trinket, I guess. And I got that, and whatever. So I'm not claiming to be the best. I don't have the best gear, but I think I have a good rotation here. What I've done is I've foregone any notion of trying to do group damage with might powers, and instead delegated that to my hand blaster and like any hard lights that can clearly do it much better than me. So what I've done is, there are plenty of AoEs. Burst AoE, point blank, AoE placed on 2 different targets, counts as different damage for both, which is really nice because you get to pad your damage score. Voltaic bolt, AoE with electrify, electrostatic bomb, electrocute, cone over here. I don't like the polarize interaction. I really don't. Electrostatic bomb likes to eat polarization, and it's also pretty costly, just to get my single target electrocute power to work on a boss, only to have one of my other powers in my rotation steal the polarize away. It won't matter once the power starts, obviously, but the fact that it costs so much for so little damage, and for just that, it's not, no. So instead I use overcharge. This is really good. Fast cast time. It's good for primary rotation. I use Tesla Blast over Wired. Wired is okay, don't get me wrong, but it has a longer cooldown time than Electrocute, which means I have to wait for it before I reapply Electrocute, thus meaning I'm losing damage to time. And it costs more. It costs as much as a tier 5 ability, and it doesn't do any damage. It just electrifies, it overwrites Carnage. It just gives me a little extra crit. I would rather have solid damage than a promise of like another 100 damage or 2. So I use that, and I use Voltaic Bolt to deal with trash in conjunction with Electrostatic Bomb and my hand blasters. And I use this sometimes against trash too, but it's primarily for mini bosses and bosses, because I don't like the damage split. So let me just go over quickly what I can. There's a bit of a crowd here. That's accumulated. Let me see if I can let's see if I can swing over to the magic wing here. Wait, this is the meta wing. They look so like... Alright, this is much better. Anyway. So,
run for your lives!
That's nice.
Ah!
Are you done, dummy? Thank you. Okay. So what I do is, for groups, I throw down my wired on the toughest bad I can find. Then I throw electrostatic bomb, and then I think, yeah, I use Voltaic Bolt. This is about the max range of, see if I go a little bit farther out, nothing. Static push is more of a range out here. This is Voltaic Bolt up in here. But, weapon combo, electrostatic bomb, Voltaic Bolt. You do that on a wired guy. The toughest guy, if he's wired, he'll dot everyone, and you don't have to worry about him dying. And it's, you know, it's very spammable. I'm a little slow on the clipping here, but you know. Alright, so as far as single target goes, it's a little bit different. Power usage is about the same as electrostatic and voltaic.
Please,
what I do.
You've got to help. Run!
What is up with that sparring target? Jeez. Okay, so for single target, you know, I get my dots out. I first start with a wired electrogenesis. And I electrocute. And then I do my primary rotation of overcharge, electrostatic bomb, and wired. It's important to get overcharge out first. It's very important to get overcharge out first because you're on a timetable. The time at which you place your first charge is when it is the one that counts. You know, 14 to 15 white numbers later, it'll detonate. So you have to get as many charges stacked as possible. It's pretty low power usage. Tesla Blast is like, what, 200, 250? Overcharge is like 200 or 250. And Electrostatic Bomb is like 300 or so. You know. And Voltaic Bolt and Electrostatic Bomb is about 650, and the other way around, it's about, I don't know, 750, 800. So it's pretty consistent in power usage, and I really recommend using a reserve tank over core strength, because all the numbers that electricity does, especially electrocute, you know, the numbers aren't that big. They're not like big chunks. Nothing on my power bar is a big chunk of damage, so I don't really get much of a benefit from core strength as much as I would, you know, having a buffer, because this power set is so hungry that the buffer allows me to keep consistent damage output. What will often happen without that extra 800 is I'll get to the point where my powers become unavailable because I have no blue bar, because the controllers can't get it out fast enough or whatever. You know, very power hungry. They cry a lot. Oh, I'm a battery, but that's Sony's fault, not mine. But, you know, the extra 800 usually gets me, it has a nice buffer zone where when I get to the point where I would be out, that's when the power comes in, so I don't have to worry about fighting with no bar to keep consistent damage out and be competitive with other power sets. My advice is if you really want to do AoE stuff, don't use electric. I don't know the new power sets, but I know fire is ridiculously good. Same power interaction for both power sets, for both trees. You know, none of this electrify, polarize BS. Not to mention a lot of the fire powers now, they interact with frostbite, and electrify. So basically, you know, you get to feed off of other people's power interactions. Fire DPS actually has better use of electrify than electric does, which is pretty funny to me. You know, it has a lot of ranged AoE powers. It has the burning over time from the burning power interaction. And plus, it's a tank power set. So you're really likely to, if you encounter a fire tank, it's very beneficial to both you and him. And if there's an ice tank in the group, you can just steal his frostbite all the time. Whenever it gets on dudes, you can just take it. And the same goes for, like, I know, you know, like if you have a gadgets controller or a mental controller, you can just, they can electrify and frostbite and immolate and all, what have you, but it's a lot nicer to be able to just get it out quickly yourself. So yeah, moral of that story is, if you want to do AoE, go fire.